Welcome to a video from thedigitallife.com. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create that sound you heard at the beginning of the video here on the Korg Wavestate. This works on all the Wavestate versions, native, SE, the rack version, original version, Mark II, all of those. This was actually a comment that was sent in on one of the other videos saying, a nice, silky, smooth, super saw thingy with slow attack and release. So I wanted to build up sort of that big sort of super saw sound that's got a couple of layers and a bit of movement on it. So I'm going to go to initialize program and start from the beginning with this. So I'm going to be using the super saw as per the request, and there's a few that you can use. If you go to synth, you'll see there's these hyper ones, and there's these detune ones, and an MS-20 one. When I was playing around with this, the hyper one is a bit too much for this. I want a nice subtle transition between the saws, so there's a bit of movement. So I'm not using just one of the sawtooth sounds. I'm using 3 or 4, and it sort of morphs between them. The hyper one was too much, so I discounted that one. So I'm going to go with the detune super 1. We'll go with detune super 2, and I'll use the MS-2000 one, which does sound different, but it gives it a bit of sort of movement on there. So if I can show you now. So there's not a huge amount of difference between these two, but it's a bit subtle enough. So the next thing I'm going to do is increase that time, because we're going to be playing this quite slow, to about 3 seconds. And on the other one, I'm going to have a similar time, but not quite the same, to give us that sort of randomness. And then I'm also going to increase the fade in, fade out time, and the crossfade time on as well. So you can hear that the MS-2000 one is quite different. So we will need to do a few tricks to make that a bit more subtle. The other thing I'm going to do is put random order on the timing and random and note on advance on the samples. So if I play a chord, you see we're getting that random. So like, it doesn't sound very silky yet, it's very aggressive on there. If I go through the amps, so now I've got the envelope. Bit too long on that. So now I've got this, the envelope's sounding a bit better. Then what I'm going to do is look at the filter, and I'm going to dial it right back so it's quite low down like that. And then we go to the envelopes and we put the filter intensity up, and I'll tweak these filters a bit now. Let's have it so it sort of sweeps in. I'm just going to try that, well, just the one time and see if it sounds better. It does. I've just got. So what I'm going to do is copy and paste that one to there, so that they're exactly the same, but then just tweak the timing slightly. That's okay. The other thing, I'll just dial down a little bit of that filter, is I'm going to apply some filter LFO. But then I'm going to put that filter very slow, that filter LFO, so it's very subtle. I'm also going to put it on free running. So rather than every time I press the key, the LFO starts again, it's only going to start, so it's one continuous LFO cycle. Nice bit of movement on there now. So that's probably okay. I'm also going to add a little bit of pitch LFO, but not too much, just like that. Now we could use unison mode and stereo, but I'm not going to do that for now. I'm now going to go to the effects, add the compression, which just balances out those different waves. And I'm also going to put a bit of chorus on there and stereo delay. And of course, I'm going to add some reverb and nice big reverb on here. That sounds about right. So I can save that now. Now there are plenty of other things we can do to it. Where I had in the demo is at the beginning there was some poly aftertouch, so I could just control that sort of filter. Like that as well, so it's a nice effect. Now you could obviously control the cutoff if you've got if you've not got a poly aftertouch keyboard. The nice thing with the poly aftertouch is it only does it on that note you're doing the pressure. So if you're holding the bass down, it doesn't do it on those. You could assign a controller as well to do that. We'll have a look at doing that separately in a sec. So I'm happy with that now. So I've saved that. So what I'm going to do now is bring in another layer. I've got 4 to play with. So I've just switched layer 1 off now. We're just on layer B. Turn it off layer A, layer B. Same sound. I'm going to pitch that an octave lower, I think. And then I'm going to turn the filter off. Right down. And then I'll set the source as being the master performance control to control it. And I'll just toggle that on plus minus. So now, if I go to the master performance, you hear nothing. I bring that low in. If I have both layers on now, so that's the single layer, and then we should introduce that lower layer. That growl on there, it's nice that. So that's good. And then to make it even more interesting, I'm going to bring in the layer again. Let's turn these off for now. I'm going to make it an octave higher, but this time I'm going to make that filter LFO effectively turn it on and off. So we're going to rely on the filter to bring that in and out. Because it's that higher pitch, when I introduce the other 2 layers, let's just turn off layer B for now using the mod control. Here we've got the actual layer kicking in there. Then it goes off again. There we go. And now introduce the lower layer. That's sounding quite good now. So we don't have to do too much work to create those 3 layers. In fact, if you're thinking like an analog synth, effectively this layer B is a sub oscillator, although it's the super saw sub oscillator. But we could have just brought in a sawtooth to add a bit of lower, but the super saw adds that extra dimension. Now, I do like going for the overkill. So final layer, we might as well use one. Let's bring the same sound in again. And this time I'm going to try and do something with the panning on it. So again, I think I'm going to have the higher one, maybe with a super high one. And I'm going to go with the panning of this, controlled by the pan LFO, full, like that. But what I'm going to then do on the LFO, the pan LFO, I'm going to turn its frequency down and have it modulated by the amp envelope, amp LFO. We're not using it for anything else. So put it to the amp LFO. Now let's see what effect that does. You can see the effect. So I want it to speed up and slow down, basically. So put it quite low. There we go. That's more like it. And I might even bring that offset up a bit. There we go. That's what I was thinking. So now the reason why in fact, let's be a bit more creative with this, and we'll go with a high pass filter. So if we're using a high pass filter, we're going to the negatives on here. Because when you use a high pass filter, it's just letting the high frequency through. It's not interfering with anything else that we're doing. Okay, so let's bring this all together now. I'll start off with layer B down. That's a nice big sound now. So that's pretty much what I've done. So what I would normally do as well, because we've tweaked these, I've normally tweaked that one by the octave. So what I would do now is, what I will do now is I'll save this as super saw layer 1, 2, 3, and 4, or A, B, C, and D. So I can use those on other performances, and I'm going to save this as well. I'll make this available as a download. So hopefully to the commenter, Laurence, I think it was, please let me know if this is what you had in your head, whether it is or isn't. I quite like that sound, actually. So I think it's a nice big sound. Sounds great. An analog type sound, but with, it's using wave sequencing rather than any analog oscillators. But I hope you like it anyway. I'll make it available as a download from the digitallifetime.com. Please keep these comments coming in. They're brilliant. I love getting the suggestions. And I'll carry on doing them. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.